Hello and welcome back into another episode here on the Elks Podcast. I had to move today's episode a little bit up in time wise than usual, just due to Air Mount having to be moved to today, and of course we don't want to cut into the RFL's podcast or anything like that, or have any time interlocking interference. But with that being said, we'll get right into today's episode, where we'll go directly into last week's recap. So that being said. Um, so for last week, we played the Desperados. This was I believe, our first home game. In fact, of this year, had high expectations going to this game, where I thought we would be able to edge it out and win. Really kind of control the tempo through the offense, but also really hold a strong attack on defense. As that being shown, we gave up 30 points, which is not ideal whatsoever, and of course, ended up losing this game. I feel like personally watching this game and watching it back, the game was a lot closer than the score truly shows. That being said, though, it just lack, luster performance. That's all it is. It's all it feels like it's ever been for this week and then last week. Just we have missed assignments, unproven plays, where we think we have something going, and then we just kind of either give up one big play, or we just allow just a lapse in judgment. And I think that's really what killed us again this week, just like last week, or this game, just like the game before against the Gunners. So going in a little bit more in depth on this week against the Desperados. For starting off, it was quite frustrating to know. I felt really strong for how our offense was going to match up against their defense. I knew that their offense has some key players that have been really on a hot streak. One being Tavion Hall, another one being Cecil Austin, who maybe has been, up and down a little bit, but we obviously know how successful he has been in his career so far and how great of a player he truly is. And then, of course, Kyle Bain kind of coming into the starting role now, and knowing what he was, kind of a little bit what he did for the, could have done for the Elks, or a little bit he did, and now having the opportunity here and for the Desperados in Austin. It's just really interesting. There's not much to be said except disappointed. Personally, knowing that I felt like we deserved this game, and we should have won, considering how many turnovers we were able to cause. Um, just like last week, we forced more turnovers than we gave up. Latavian World did throw his first interception of the season in this game. Knocked on wood uh, previously in the last episode, hoping that he could keep the track going of that big old goose egg in the interception column. But of course, as I said that, it happened. So I'll try my best to stop with the curses of just making our players do bad things that they shouldn't. But yeah, it really was an all right performance from our offense overall. We had a few plays that we just didn't maximize the yardage or points per the drive. There's a few times we took field goals that I felt like we had a good enough momentum that we should have ended up scoring or putting up to 7 instead of the 3. A few times we were even in field goal range where we just kind of hurt ourselves, or could have been in field goal range where we hurt ourselves. And then even a few times where, especially one that I can remember, we were at the end of going down. It seemed like we had one last drive before the end of the half. Looked like we could have done something with it, right? And just kind of just slowed down, just kind of just stopped out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, we'll punt it back off to them. Should be able to defense just hold them for long enough, and we won't give them any points. And immediately, as I'm thinking that, we give up points right before the half, and it's like, all right, now we're down 2 scores before, you know what I mean? And it's just frustrating because you do so, not ideal success rate, but better than, you know, more or less than you even expect, or um, depending on how poor of our first half really was, because we had very bad lackluster performance in the first half, and I was like, okay, we'll come out stronger second half. I know it, and I have faith in our team throughout the entire time. And I kept saying that. If you look back, or even in the chat and everything, I just had faith in our guys because I knew that we still had it. We had the momentum from time to time, and we were able to if we were just able to put just a few plays together, or string something together, we could definitely bring this game back to one score, even tie it, or even maybe even take the lead. So um, I was hoping to be able to show it that we had a good comeback within us, but just never really performed, never really maximized to that potential. So it was a bit frustrating in that way, but it happens, and just gotta move on. Um, Going in now for this week, we have the Crusaders. So it's our first division matchup of the season. Obviously, a big one to start us off. They have been pretty strong when it comes to Ben Wayfield's performances. He leads the league currently in passing yards and some other passing stats. He has had a few turnovers he's thrown, so we're looking to really get after him and force a few inaccurate passes so our DBs can make plays on them, or even just so our DBs can just make great coverage plays to even just get deflections or something like that. Of course, I'm expecting big performances out of guys like Garrison Ash, Antoine Buck, and maybe even a guy like Chris Ramsey or even Elijah Payne, who had a sack and some, I believe at least one. I know it was at least one sack, and definitely some heavy pressure coming on the edge for us. We did have an injury for Tyron Johnson, but he did. I'll get to that and the personnel updates and everything and changes and everything. But if anything, once I get in there, I'll really talk and break down anything like that. But for the most part, our defensive line just got to get after Ben Wayfield. He still has a great ability to throw while under pressure, but I feel like no matter what quarterback in this league, if you get enough pressure on them or you keep hitting them or so on, sooner or later you're gonna just disrupt one or two passes, and hopefully those one or two passes we can at least make the play on them and go better in our direction and maybe even get a turnover out of it. So that'd be key. Offensively, the Crusaders have been an up and down, like a sometimes sinking, sometimes floating ship, I guess is the best way to put it, considering Crusaders. Sometimes they've been on an uptrend on their defensive performance, and sometimes they've just been on a really bad downtrend where they just give up too many points. Their offense just has to pretty much run and gun and just pretty much stay high-powered offensively to match the other team's offense. We're hoping it's maybe more of that performance where they just kind of let us score freely and do what we want. Of course, not expecting that, but we'd really love to. I know with the performance from Darius Martin last week wasn't so ideal. He didn't reach 100. I think he maybe reached like 70 or 80 in total yards combined or something like that. So not the prettiest performance, but of course I wasn't expecting for him to have to go all for us or really like make any record-breaking game or like a fantastic play. I expect him to do a little bit better with the carries he did have. So may look for you guys, if you look and you watch the game on this Sunday, to see like a few more carries for guys like McSpradden, or I wouldn't say Bradshaw, but definitely McSpradden, just to maybe get a new inflection of like a fatigue and everything that might have been playing a little bit more of a factor that I realized and I noticed on Darius Martin's end. So look for that. Another thing with that is maybe utilize multiple backs out of the backfield when it comes down to third down situations, especially third and long, considering I don't want Darius Martin to have to take the brunt of everything in the beginning half of the season, so then in the back half of the season we don't have him. That'd be really frustrating. Another thing would be making sure we have Latavian World really go on this tear. He has been doing really good for us offensively, like you guys probably saw on the RFL podcast that they have. Stat-wise, he leads in top 3 in passing yards, 2 to be exact. But he also is like up there decently for touchdowns, and of course he had 0 interceptions. So, and now he has 1, but it's pretty ideal when it comes to your starting quarterback to only have thrown 1 in 4 games so far. Technically 3 RFL matchups, but really huge. I'm looking for him to have this big spurt, hopefully again for us this week, and continue on a really clean slate and just really pretty performances from him going on from here. That being said, go into now player updates, personnel changes, and everything like that. Like I said, Tyron Johnson, or TJ, however you want to. He did come out of the game for a slight amount of time for injury. I believe we did sit him about a quarter and a half, even two, maybe. He did end up wanting to go back in. We decided not to, even though it was a close game at some points. But like vets like Spencer Means and a youngster in Kaufman that's back there behind him, we figured we'd just split the reps between those two, considering Elijah Payne just is in great shape at this moment, fatigue-wise, health-wise, whatever you want to call it. And really just been able to push him to the knit and grit to every play. Pretty much, he's been able to be on the field, so it's really been key for us. And it was huge for us this past week to know that we have a guy who can almost play every single down and not need any rest. So we ended up letting Tyron Johnson take a break and everything. So that being said, if I'm not mistaken, he ran half pads for us for this week's training and stuff. Really just kind of loosening everything up, not really pushing him to the edge, considering he's kind of coming off a little bit of a soreness and everything from the injury, having to be taken out. That being said, we do expect him to play and start for us. When he might be in and out with any type of reps or system in place for that, so we might be looking to get Spencer Means some reps, considering he didn't do too bad with the opportunities he did have for us. As always, I mean, he's just a true veteran presence back there, whether it's backup or even getting a little bit more than a backup role. So with him being able to do what he did, I feel like he deserves it, and really just take off that pressure from Tyron Johnson, just so he doesn't have to really push the envelope or really stress anything when coming back from an injury. You never want to stress something that then allows them to get an even worse injury or puts us in a worse position down the road for this season. We'd rather have him sit out one game or sit out half this game than not be able to play in the next upcoming games or anything like that. So yeah. That being said, we have not made any free agent moves. There is talk about a bunch of potential moves, or I've been looking at some potential moves for us personally as the Elks, considering how we have dropped the last two games. Nothing too severe or anything crazy, not any big name things, but just maybe a few changes, new map movements or anything like that. Something maybe to freshen up the roster, or something bringing a new look for us defensively or offensively. I'm not going to really try to spread out too much news because it just may not end up happening, and it just is what it is. But yeah, besides that, we just had more or less re-signings that I'm still waiting to really cover in the upcoming weeks. So I'll just make a big whole episode just on talking about our re-signs and everything like that. But that's really been the big updates or player changes for us, or any personnel changes for us, whether player-wise or staff or anything. That being said, the funny thing about this all is this upcoming Sunday, I'm not sure on my availability when it comes to the game because my birthday is exactly this Sunday, so it's exactly the 6th. So for us, being able to match up against the Crusaders will be really interesting, considering it's on my birthday. Of course, I want that birthday win. That'd be huge. You know, it make my day that much more. I mean, if you ask any of the guys that I have talked to after this past week, the Desperados, I was upset and it didn't sit well for me for the Gunners game, but I was willing to accept it knowing that we can take some big takeaways, and we had a bunch of big takeaways we had in that game, but there was also things we could learn from that I realized and stuff that I was hopefully just we could survive through, that it wouldn't really hurt us too much more in the upcoming weeks and everything like that. But this past week, it just showed to hurt us even more, and it just got really frustrating for me, and it was just like something I wish I kind of changed beforehand going into that week, but at the same time, me not having any really tests or availability to really work on how our roster is able to run functionally without just, you know, throwing something in there and hoping it kind of crossing your fingers a little bit and hoping it works. But yeah, it was just not ideal. Really upsetting. And I'm trying to hold everything together, not trying to have any of the guys think that the wheels are falling off this early in the season or anything like that. I do have faith that we're able to pull things back. That being said, I mean, Snowhawks lost a close game against the Condors. I feel like that's more good than bad for us, considering now the Snowhawks have already lost a game in the division. Could help us down the road, knowing that they've already lost one when most people kind of had it out that does seem like they wouldn't lose any or just one at that. So considering that they lost one already, gives us an opportunity if we're able to split one of the two that they'll lose 2 all season, and as long as we can try to stay strong throughout the division, it might help us. So that's ideal, and I feel like the tempo setter will definitely be this week on against the Crusaders. So we definitely need to get business done in the away game, and I always feel more confident knowing if we can win the away game of the one of 2 matchups that we're more likely to also win that home game when we do face them again later in the season. So that's ideal for us. Wrapping up off of that, though, we'll go into any questions and everything. That being said, let me pull up. We did have one question from Philip Jones from the Cougars, quarterback for the Cougars, about this last week's game and press conference. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave them comments or send me a message on social media, or even you can send me a message on Discord, or just leave them whenever we hold press conferences and stuff like that. I'll probably pull them back to here for questions and everything like that. But he had for us was, how do you think you could have done better with trying to stop Tavion Hall? Well, for the most part, it seemed like our defense wasn't even there, if I'm being honest. And I say that in the nicest way possible to all of our defensive players, and I kind of covered it with them a little bit, and really just breaking down how we really performed. It was just terrible. Simple fact. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything. I'm not that type of person when it comes to coaching. I just tell them to fall on his truth and what I have faith in. And if I don't feel good about a game going into another one, that's what it's going to be, and that's what I'll tell them. But I did not feel good about the game after. I did not feel good about knowing that we had a dual threat quarterback and a strong halfback back there, knowing that how bad we struggle against the run. I did feel better seeing when we were able to contain Kyle Bain and that dual threat ability a little bit at the beginning of the game, so that made me feel a little bit better. Confidence was a little bit more higher in that sense. I didn't feel like he was going to really kill us too much. I was really more worried about that third long situation where we should get the stop and really force the 4th down, and really allowing Kyle Bain to extend the play with his legs and maybe either make a read over and pass or run for the 1st down. But we did well with that, so it made me kind of, feel a little bit better about maybe what we're going to be able to do against Tavion Hall. But I never expected to shut him down. I never expected him to really, isolate him to the point to where you hold him under 100 yards. I was really just looking for something that we could make sure that he wasn't going to have big back-to-back carries. He wouldn't have, any type of things like that. Really trying to, separate his success between drives, so it's not coming all in one spurt of a couple of drives, where 3 drives he's pretty much taking their offense all the way down the field and scoring. More or less kind of, he got 10 yards here, 12 yards here, but then the next play he got -1, or the next play he had 2 or something. But that separation in between, because if you allow a guy to run 15 and 8, 6 and 5 even, it hurts, because over a time, if you run, all it takes is 2 5-yard runs and you got already a 1st down, or 3rd and inches, and then you're guaranteeing yourself almost for another 1st down if you run it again, and you can't allow that. So I feel like that was the thing that hurt me, knowing that we just couldn't put together a full drive a couple times on defense when we should have. So quite frustrating in that way, to say the least. That being said, that pretty much to answer that question. Could have done better, yes. Is there something I would take back from that game in my self-assessment? No. I just feel like the play calling wasn't the worst. It was just more of it came down to execution, and maybe comes down to the playbook more than the play calling. So I didn't feel like we put ourselves in a bad situation when it came to the playbook. The play calling is more just maybe the situation of the playbook, and playing against that type of offense just didn't fall in our favor, really. So that being said, really just need to look to move forward, move up, look at what we need to progress on, improve on, because we can't take a break. You can't take a break in the RFL. We can't take a break in the RFL now, knowing that we're at 2-2, considering our only one has been against the Tigers. That wasn't, no slight to Coach Stein, but wasn't an impressive win. And it was more impressive for us to lose as little as we did and have that opportunity and chance against the Gunners than actually winning a football game. So, yeah. So that being said, it's just frustrating. So now our goal is to take what we learned from this week and the week before and our 2 losses, cut this losing streak because I hate losing streaks. It's frustrating. It gets really, really aggravated and uneasy. But I know we can do it. I know we can pull it together. I know our offense has been up to the test for the most part. I know our defense is lacking a little bit behind, but I feel like once we get our defense back on the right track and right narrow point in the right direction and taking those steps forward, like I talk about all the time, we can really make some big impacts and really shake up the league and our division and really look to make a name for the new Elks organization, or not new Elks organization, but the Elks organization in my new era. So really just trying to make some big things happen over here, and I feel like it starts with this week, and I'm hoping that we can really show what the true Salt Lake City Elks are and how dominant we can be. So I do expect big things for this week, and I'm expecting a win as always, but this one more than ever. I feel like if we're able to prevent Ben Wakefield from really taking over and doing what he's been able to do against other teams and so far, he's been able to just kind of sling the ball all over the place and throw freely and openly. We're able to just play man-to-man, face-up coverage with some of our corners and even our athletic linebackers to make plays on the ball, like how Derek Kennedy was this past week and getting that pick. I feel like we'll be in the right situation. We're just able to pull out the win. So big week, big win. Hopefully it answers the question how you want it to be. I feel like it did, but yeah. Looking forward to the matchup. Looking forward to my birthday. Turn the big 2-0, big 20, 2-0. But yeah, gotta pull out a win for my birthday. Gotta pull a win out for the guys. Gotta pull a win out for Salt Lake City, and gotta pull a win out for the fans that show out. Because I feel bad. Because the last 2 weeks I've seen people out there cheering us on, talking about looking forward to watching this game and cheering us on even when we're down and everything. And I feel bad not being able to pull out for these past 2 weeks. And I'm hoping to do that for us this week. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to the game as much as I am. Hopefully I'm able to show out to the game, or at least stop by and check on the game and watch it from bits and bits and able to talk with you guys. But if in that case, if I'm not able to, I hope you wish us good luck. I hope to when I watch it back to see you guys there and everything. I appreciate all the love and support we've been able to get so far this season. Expecting bigger things down the road. Hope you are as well. And can't wait to see how the game turns out. That being said, season expectations, win here. Looking forward to next week, and we'll go from there. That's pretty much it. But with that being said, that's it for us on this week's episode of Salt Lake City Elks podcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope you guys have a fantastic RFL football-filled weekend. So thanks for showing out. Thanks for showing up to the podcast, and bye.